JJ Solomon.
This Corey Bradshaw, Mr. IOTBA. Mr. These boys can't touch me on my worst day. And this is the Spit Bucket Podcast.
It's your boy, Mr. IOTBA, Mr. 214, Senor Dos, Uno Cuatro, Senor Dos, Catorce, Mr. Undeniable, Mr. D Boys can't touch me on my worst day, right here with my dog, my partner, my brother from another, Mr. JJ Solomon. What's popping, my guy?
What's popping with you, bro? Happy Tuesday, happy June, bro. It's hot as hell outside, dog.
Man, you go from rain and we in Seattle. Like I feel like we was in Seattle the last couple of days. But shout out to everybody that's on here. Make sure y'all like, share, everything. We appreciate y'all.
Episode 64, Corey, and we got a very
episode
special
64, baby.
Why don't you tell everybody who we got locked and loaded for the day, bro?
Man, so everybody, this guy we got 11-0. Hold up. 10 knockouts. Hold up. He the WBA Intercontinental Super Middleweight Champion of the world.
Let's hear it.
He resides out of Houston, Texas. Darius Fulghum.
What's up, Mr. DFG, bro? How are you, sir?
I ain't gonna lie, y'all got some of the coldest intros. I like that.
That's his guy, dog.
Man.
He did his thing.
He had handles like Iverson one time. So shit. I'm just JJ, dog. Bro, we appreciate having you on, dude.
I appreciate being on, man.
Hold up real quick. My bad. My computer was tripping. Anyway, let's get right to it, dog. It's Tuesday night. Like Mr. IOTBA said, 11-0, 10 knockouts. Damn, bro, that's saying a lot. You got your it's your first main event, right? Your first headline? Headlining June 27th against Ronald Ellis in Indio, California, Fantasy Springs. Tell us about it, dog. How's camp coming along?
Man, camp's been going great. I ain't gonna lie. And I feel like you'll probably hear every fighter say this, but it's the best camp that I've had so far. I mean, it's not just everything physically, but everything just kind of mentally. You know, I'm extremely blessed for every opportunity that I get, and I can't take any of that for granted. And so I'm putting everything I got into this, and I'm ready to showcase that on June 27th.
So Darius, like you said, it's a cliche. Everybody say, this the best training camp I ever been in, right? So tell me, what you knowing the level where you're at right now, and you right there. Tell me, is there anything new that you brought into this camp?
No, I wouldn't say anything in particular new. Like I didn't bring nobody in or nothing new. But there's a lot of things that you learn each and every fight that you do take into each camp about things that you did like in the last camp, or things that you didn't that you want to kind of improve on, or certain things you want to work on. Coming off one of my past fights, I had in my mind like I really need to make sure I can start letting my hands go. So a lot of the focus in that camp was doing that. Depending on what you got, the type of opponents you have, you may do something a little different in the training camp where you're working a lot more on the inside or working at a longer range or counter punching. So that's the main thing that really changes, really. Everything really stays the same. Like I'm very big on no matter how much the level goes up, every fight is so important. My debut was at that point in time was the most important fight of my career because if I lost my debut, then where am I at now, right? 100%. So every fight matters, and I got to treat every fight like it is a world championship fight. They're like, again, it's another cliche thing, but it is real though. Like my thing is I don't want anything to really change just because it's at a different level, Oh, it's your first time headlining the card. Okay, yeah, I still need to train just as hard as I was training in past fights, and still need to train, even harder. Like nothing should really change is what I'm saying.
Facts. That's good stuff, bro. And listen, like speaking of your competition getting better, and let's take it back a quick second. Like 11-0, 10 knockouts. Usually when you see a prospect with 11-0, 10 knockouts, you're seeing like 1-0 records, 2-0 records that you're going through. Let's pause. Like I jotted this down with Olivas in April on the Haney Ryan Garcia undercard. He had 32 fights. Fox back in January, 28-5, 32 fights. So it's not like you're fighting people who are kids or who are just showing up. Now I say that because Ronald Ellis, 18-4, but he went the distance with Christian Mbele. He's been in there with David Benavidez. This is a step up in competition, man. Main event. Golden Boy. You got the bright lights. You got a name that people, obviously people recognize Ronald Ellis' name from being in the ring. Is that, you said the preparation ain't different, but mentally, is that changing anything as them levels step up?
No, not at all. Like I said, it makes me even happy. I think honestly, like I said, it put me in a better place mentally because I know the importance of it. Right, this is a fight that could propel me in the rankings. It's a good way to showcase myself. It's on a Thursday night. Not much is going on on a Thursday night in the sports world, right? So a lot more attention to be on this fight for me, and I thrive with that. Thrive under those moments. So again, no pressure on anything. I'm thankful for it. Ronald's just another guy that's in the way of me chasing my dreams and trying to be one of the greatest fighters coming out of Texas, greatest fighter in the world. Just another guy in the way.
So you say no pressure, right? But we know that's not true. Because as you build your way up, like you put yourself in this position when you turn yourself into a headliner, right?
Right.
And with you becoming a headliner, and as a fighter, you must show up and show out because if you make it to this position, that means if I'm you, I'll say I am a somebody. So it's pressure. Tell me, like it got to be. I know you're a fighter, and once you get in the ring, you're gonna fill them out in a couple of rounds, right? But it got to be a little nervousness, making it to your first headline fight, something you trained for, work hard for, and you know that you must show up and show out to keep moving forward. Thoughts?
So my thoughts on that is, and this is real. This is I'm in a really great place mentally right now. Like pressure is, when we talk about pressure is just what we put on ourselves. You know what I'm saying? There's outside expectations, but it's really on our mental and what we think about it that really applies that to ourselves, right? Like I can put as much pressure as I want to on myself in every single fight to perform a certain way. But what I've learned through all my previous experience through the amateurs, through the pros, is a lot of people fold under pressure like that, and they're doing it to themselves. I'm not gonna need to do that to myself. It's already a tough sport as it is. I don't need to put more weight on my shoulders than I need to. And so mentally, like throughout the years, that's something I've always been working on, is to release a lot of that pressure off me. I love this sport. It's not a sport that I need to do. I have a degree in nursing. I don't need to do. I do this because I love it. And so every time I go into the ring, I'm just having fun, And I know what released a lot of pressure for me is I go into every fight fully prepared, that I've done everything I can do. So whatever happens in the ring, win, lose, draw, I did what I was supposed to do beforehand. So I go into every fight fully confident in myself, knowing I gave it my all and I did everything I was supposed to do.
Oh, I love it, bro. And I had on my notes, like I do want to touch on your intelligence, not just ring IQ, but you're thinking, and I'll hit on that later, but it's blaringly obvious. Speaking of like, thriving in pressure and situations, look, we were at the Ugas Spence fight. You were on the undercard. You've been in the spotlight. You were Haney Garcia, giant fight, probably the biggest, most talked about fight of the year thus far. I did notice when we were in San Antonio, and then after that when we were in Houston for the Duarte fight, but I noticed the difference in the crowd response to you in San Antonio with the Schofield, who was it, Haskell Rhodes fight.
Yeah.
The crowd was going. You had a crowd. You had a presence there, both in San Antonio and Houston. But San Antonio's the first place I noticed. What does that do to you, bro? Like when you hear the fans there for Darius.
No, I cannot make this up, man. It's been the biggest blessing for me. So one thing you got to understand for me, like the big thing that I enjoy about this process and this journey is all my family and support that I have with me, like taking them, like feel like I'm taking them on a journey, right? And so it's always important, even my family. I had them at every single one of my fights, and it literally anytime I hear them chanting DFG,
Yeah.
DFG, it do something to me. And I think anybody can recognize that. Like it do something to you because this is the weirdest thing about this sport. You know, I did this sport when I first started. I wasn't really a fan of team sports, right? I did it, obviously. You know, I'm from Texas. You know, obviously I played football, right? But one thing I hated about it was I hated people pointing fingers, blaming, like we lost because you missed a tackle, you didn't make the block, or you missed the catch, or whatever. So I've always gravitated towards individual sports. So back in high school, I started wrestling. When I finished doing that, I got into boxing because I love the accountability of it, where I feel like it's all on me. If I lost, it's because I lost. If I won, it's because I won. You know, I put the work in for that. But the more I've been in this sport, the more I realize how important it is having a team and support system that's there with you. Because anytime I hear that, man, I don't ever feel alone in there. I feel like I really got them pushing me, you know? Like, I don't know. I think a lot of fighters can relate to that. Like, you feel that support and you feel that push, and it just kind of motivates you in that moment in the ring to really push through, even when you're tired, even when you're hurt, and even though it's hard. Like, you know, you got people that's backing you. And so that means a lot to me. It's a big thing for me and my development. So it's always important, and it's gonna be the same way for this next fight. I got so many people that's coming out to this. My first headline,
That's
you know, so I'm
awesome,
gonna have a
man.
lot of support of people chanting DFG, and I'm hoping everybody's gonna got to hear it on the broadcast. I know it.
Oh, most definitely, dog.
So I like how you handle that question, you know, about pressure, and to tell you the truth, I believe you, right? Because you know I understand. You know, I want to talk to you about discipline, right? Do you think that your discipline comes from you being, you know, a military kid and growing up in that environment? Do you think that's where a lot of your discipline come from?
It does, man. And so anytime I talk to my pops about this, man, like that was always an important thing for him was was being that example. He was always an example for us. It don't matter if he was sick, he went to work. No matter how he felt, whatever, he was going to work. And he was the embodiment of that for me. I seen it. And funny story, I always joke about him. There was one time, this is back when I was wrestling in high school. I had caught the flu and was sick. But once the doctors got the meds, I was starting to recover from it. But there was a tournament coming up, and doctor was saying I shouldn't do it, you know, because I was recovering, and I was still weak, fatigued, and my dad was really upset about this. He took offense to it. He's like, "You're not going to take this moment away from my son. This is a learning lesson for my son. On it don't matter if you sick, if you hurt, you're tired, you go to work, you do what you're supposed to do." That was like a big thing for him. I remember that vividly. That was my one of my senior year of high school, and you know, so he was a big example for me. You know, he always embodied that. He never made me do something that he wouldn't do himself. You know, so I seen it in the home. So to answer your question, yeah, my pops was a perfect example of that, and my brother too. My brother is my biggest role model, biggest inspiration. If I ever want to live how I live my life, is through him. My brother really set the blueprint for me and everything in my success now. My brother played in the NFL. He went through the route, and I've seen his work ethic, his grind, his discipline. His being honest, his discipline is honestly probably better than mine. Like that dude's that guy.
That's dope, bro. And listen, I just have to mention it. First off, Corey and I are both big country first people. We support our veterans, so salute to your pops and his brother military too, or not?
No. He wasn't. My sister was actually military. I'm
Yeah.
actually really glad y'all say this. Please watch my fight, man. You gotta watch. I'm pretty sure you'll be tuned in, but
Oh, most definitely.
there's a lot of that stuff on what you're saying. I'm paying. I want to try to pay homage to. So
Yeah,
my
so
bad. Keep going.
we appreciate that, and you let your pops know that we truly appreciate that. My next question to you, though, and you could kind of put this under the discipline umbrella. You were a heavyweight as an amateur. You had a hell of a run. Golden Gloves, you top spot on Golden Gloves. Came up a little short on the trials, the Olympic trials, but nonetheless, you had a hell of a run at heavyweight. Now, I remember the first time we met you. you kept emphasizing now I'm focused. Now I'm taking it to a next level. And I don't know if that was from your first 3 or 4 fights to that moment, or were you referring more to the transition from a heavyweight to where you're fighting at now at 168? Can you outline a little bit to us, like why that transition? Was it a discipline thing? And do you ever see yourself climbing back up in weight? You know, you're 27 years old.
Right.
You look great. You know, you everything looks great at 168. What are the thoughts on that heavyweight stuff?
Okay, well, so a couple things I want to clarify. So the obviously the thing with the Olympic trial, I won the Olympic trials, but I wasn't able to go to the Olympics because of COVID reasons. They canceled the tournament for me to go, so that's kind of what happened with that. But if I want to say what you're probably referring to, but I'm being focused now, there was a transition period for me. So 2019, I had just graduated school, and so at that point in time, throughout most of my amateur career, you know, school was my priority, right? That was what I had to finish first. And then immediately after, once I graduated, I kind of put everything nursing related. I put that behind me, you know, because boxing was. I always taught, all my teachers knew, my class, they all knew. Everybody at Prairie View, they knew. I've always said this is what I'm going to do, you know, right after I finish, and so. Time worked out perfectly. And so if maybe that's what you're referring to, like that was a big challenge for me because I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do at the time. I had other obligations that took priority to me, which was finishing school. And once I got that out of the way, I put everything and locked fully in on boxing. It's the thing I have to do it while I'm young. It's the only thing I can do now. And we got one opportunity at this. Only a small percentage of people can really make it to that level, man. And it's just a blessing to be in that percentage, man. Like,
No,
I was talking to somebody today, man. They had said something to me about, you know, people really making the boxing. They said, you know, 99% of people fail. And I was like,
that's
you're doing something that 99% of people failed at. And when he said it like that, I was like, man, that is crazy, you know. But is it really crazy? Like I said, we put a lot of work and sacrifice to get to this. Like it's not easy, you know, but definitely well worth it.
no, that's
Hopefully I answered your question.
no, you did, because I always was curious about, because you didn't see anything on the headlines. It's not like you got caught with DUIs and nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I remember clearly the first time I met you, it wasn't just with us. You had mentioned on a couple of other interviews, and that stood out. You saying now things are different, your focus and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know if maybe things were you know, rough for you, but I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Right.
School first, nursing, that ain't easy peasy, dude. That's a whole ass thing. So, bro, you've done 2 things that people like. You've got a WBA strap, you know, it's a regional strap, and you got a damn bachelor's degree in nursing. So, like, salute, dog, super salute,
Thanks, bro.
Go ahead, Corey.
And I'm glad we're on that topic, right? Because another thing, you know, I seen, you know, watching your Instagram, when you was getting ready for one of your fights, you said Muhammad Ali said, "Sacrifice now, and you could live as a champion for the rest of your life." Can you tell me how much that quote means to you from the great Muhammad Ali?
Oh, like I said, it's resonating a lot now because just for instance, like, man, I can think about how quickly my life has changed in the past year, you know, like it's traumatic. I've had in the span, like in 12 months, let me see, do math, like 8 fights in a span of 12 months. Like that's a crazy pace. And especially with, you know, certain opposition and at certain level of fights. Like I'm so extremely blessed with that. My life has completely changed, you know, 12 months. And so I think then again, you know, in 12 more months, how much is it going to change? You know, what all is going to be different? Where other level am I going to be at? And so I started thinking about that. I'm like, oh, like really, it's not going to be, I mean, it's not that long for me to just sacrifice all the little dumb stuff now, like all the little things I want to do, and that doesn't matter. I do any of that stuff later. Like just right now in this moment is so important. Just sacrifice just for a little bit, and I get everything that I've dreamed of. And so he was right on the money with it, man. And I feel it so much now, where it's just like just in a couple of years, I could be in a really good place where I really do feel like being in a place pay-per-view and headline and big cards, because 168 is a stacked division, and 168 is I really feel it's going to open up soon.
Yeah.
I don't know the issue with Canelo. Canelo's supposed to be vacating the IBF. So a lot of these belts are going to start opening up, and they're going to be out for the grabs soon. It's just now my place to keep doing what I'm supposed to do. Whoever Golden Boy put in front of me, knock him off, and really position in a position where I can grab one of those belts when it opens up.
No, that's what I was about to ask. We saw what just happened at 147, how the landscape of the division could change real quick.
Just like that.
The belts start opening up, freeing up, and now you've got champs there that were contenders just a few years ago and prospects. So you've sparred with Big Baby Anderson, with David Morrell, with Zudo. You've been in there. You've got the trench work, the practice, the stuff behind the scenes. How do you feel, about your chances? Do you have yourself a timeline when them belts start becoming available? When Canelo does what Canelo's got to do? I mean, what type of timeline are you looking at? Have you had those discussions, bro?
I've always think about it, but sometimes the timeline is so hard. You just never know what the landscape of boxing is going to be. How much things change so quickly. Even with Turkey Al-Sheikh coming in the mix now, where he's making a lot of these big fights happen. You just never honestly really know. All I do know is, like, in my career so far, everything really has been perfect timing. Like, and timing really is everything. And if I had to take a just to throw a dart at the wall, I feel like I'm on a good pace where, sometime maybe into next year I should be in position, mid next year. I'm hoping to crack the top 10 in the WBA soon. Where I can really start climbing that list and be able to knock off better names. But the whole thing for me is just, again, building the brand, building the name. But that really comes with knocking people off, putting on impressive performances. So just got to take it one fight at a time. It's hard to really look too far ahead because you'll kind of get lost in that. I can't ever really look past Ronald Ellis. Ronald Ellis is a tough guy. So
I was testing you, bro. I was testing you.
He's ultimately my priority. Because I can't really look too far ahead. Who knows what's going to happen? I could try to play these games and try to map all these things out in my head, but the task at hand is what's important. That's June 27th.
Luke.
Yeah.
So in life, as you start to have success, right? With notoriety, it comes responsibility, right? As myself started talking boxing years ago, I felt like it was my due diligence to go to all the local boxing gyms and give back to the gyms, to interview the fighters and give them all the play they could get. Me and my brother from another, JJ, we hooked up. We had toy drives. With the notoriety comes a responsibility, and that's why I want to talk about you with your notoriety and responsibility. I seen you at a Boys and Girls Club, right? Tell me how huge of a moment that was for you. I think that was in Phoenix, Arizona,
Yeah.
at the Boys and Girls Club. Tell me how huge that was for you to be able to be a speaker there at the Boys and Girls Club.
You have to understand too something for me. Like, I grew up in a small town in Killeen, Texas, and so I never really didn't have access to really seeing anybody that was really doing anything big, or what I'm saying, that was on a very high level. I never got to see it. I didn't even think it was real. Like, I thought that was stuff you just see on TV. So I do understand how important it is being able to as a kid, to be able to see and have access to people like that. One thing that I've learned during that trip was Oscar was talking, and I got to see how Oscar was interacting with the kids, and I realized I was kind of doing it wrong the whole time. Like Oscar really impressed me with that, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, just for instance, as we're all sitting up there, we're trying to talk to the kids. These are kids, man. I know what it was like also when I was a kid. Sometimes one ear out the other.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Oscar really made a thing to make these kids really feel like a champion. You know what I'm saying? Bringing the belt out, having the kids, come on, having the kids hold the belt, like really empowering these kids, holding the belt up, raising their hand, making them feel like a champion, and I could see it on their face, like how much it really like lightened them up and changed. Like the energy was completely different. And I was like, yo, Darius, like, what are you doing, bro? Like, you're doing this all wrong. Like, you're trying to talk to these kids. You need to have this, saying you need to be disciplined. You need to work hard. Like, that stuff's one ear out the other. When you really make a kid feel that just a little bit, to feel that feeling of being a champion, that's what's going to make them want to be a
Bro,
champion.
that's powerful, dog.
That's what's going to make them want to be a
Yeah.
champion. When they feel that, when they feel it for the first time, and it's like, as a kid, I want to feel that again. Like, that felt good. Like, I want to feel that more and more, so I seen Oscar do that, and it blew my mind. I was just so impressed with it, and like I said, it changed the view on how you really interact with kids. So it was a great experience for me. Like I said, I learned a lot. Just
That's
watching.
tight, bro. I gotta mention this though, just because that feeling you're talking about. It's like Correa and I, we'll host, USA boxing events sometimes, and bro, we'll go all out. And after the fights, we don't just announce the winner. Correa will do an interview with the winner, like, right there, bro, and it makes them. They got their fans out there watching. It does something to them, dog.
It does, man. Every little aspect of something like that, when you can make them feel like a superstar. That's the motivation. That's what's really going to like lock into them. I know I want this. This is what I want, and really getting that drive. Rather than just saying, oh yeah, one day, you'll be interviewed, and one day you'll fight on TV and this and that. But you can kind of just somehow make them feel it.
No, bro, that shit is powerful, dog, and I appreciate you sharing that. And salute, dude. Salute for you recognizing that. Like Corey said, it's pressure. All of a sudden, you're a star. Like, you were just not a star, and now you're a star, and now you're with these kids, and you have to say something. So it's pressure to do the right things to really impact them, dog. So that shit means a lot to me. It means a lot to homie too. Yeah. And I appreciate you sharing that with us. Yeah. And look, I know there's a lot of boxing big events going on, but dog, you got a main event coming up, and I want to make sure that the 132 people that we got watching right now understand who you are. But I read something in a Ring magazine article that said you wanted to be a boxer and you got inspired from watching a George Lopez episode, dog.
And it's so
what's up with that? Can you share that with us? Okay,
so this is the quick story of it. I don't know what grade I was in. I feel like I was in third grade or something. And I would love George Lopez. I was Nick at Night. That's all I watched before I went to bed. It was Nick at Night. George Lopez came on, and there was an episode. His son Max, he was like wetting the bed or something, and he's like, "Bro, you're Mexican, you're Cuban, bro. You're born to be a boxer. Take him to the boxing gym." And it took him to the boxing gym, and it was like Layla Ali, and he had his first fight, knocked kid out and stuff. And anyways, I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, like, man, this is so cool. Like, I think this is amazing. This is dope. That was the first thing I've ever seen. And I remember after watching that, I told my mom that I wanted to box. Like, what? It was a whole thing. She ended up took me to a boxing gym. I remember that we went. I don't know what exactly happened or why I didn't sign up or why we didn't actually go through with it. I think I may have been in third grade or something. I was in elementary school, I feel like, for sure. And so I didn't end up signing up that day. And I always say I'm so glad that I didn't, because at that point in my life, I was not in I wasn't mentally in a place where I would have done well. You know what I mean? I would have probably got whooped or beat up and be like, man, forget this.
Yeah,
I'm not doing this, and I probably would have quit or something. I just wasn't in that place mentally at the time, so I ended up, came back to it a lot later. I started when this was 2015. I was 18 years old, 18 going on 19 when I started. And like I said, at that point in time, like, I made the conscious decision, like, this is what I want to do, so I was a lot more mature then. So, like I said, it ended up worked out. I mean, I always say I wish I would have started when I was a lot younger, because I got a lot more experience, but realistically, I probably would have quit. I probably had some bad days or something, and I'm like, man, forget this. So I mean, everything worked out, but the initial thing that maybe was George Lopez.
That's pretty dope, man.
That's so funny that you.
Well, it's because Dougie Fisher, Dougie's the one I think who did that interview for Ring Magazine, or he's the editor in chief or something like that. Who either I saw some comments by Dougie And I've been meaning to ask you that at the fights, but at the fights there's so much shit going on, and you don't have time for a George Lopez question.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
I always got time for a George Lopez question.
But no, I've been wanting to clear that up, dude. I've been wanting to clear that up. But real quick, Corey, don't jump in real quick. I just want to say, like, what was the transition from wrestling to boxing about? Because you could, with wrestling, there's a more structured path. You go from high school to college, and it's there's avenues to go. Where boxing's like the damn wild, wild west. You go out there on your own. Hope you find a man. So what you seem to me, coming from a military family, that structure is more important to you. So like, how the hell why and how did you make that transition from wrestling to boxing?
Man, real quick, structure is so important to me, and it's so funny because boxing is not really that structured at all. Man, it really is a Wild Wild West freestyle, man. You couldn't have said any better. Yeah. It really is how it feels, which is it took a lot of adjusting for me, but kind of how the transition happened when I was wrestling. So it was my junior year. I wasn't any good at wrestling when I first started. I kind of was doing it, just playing around. Like, so my whole life story was really finding myself. I really didn't know what I wanted to do in life. And the DFG, it always said it came from like, I always knew I wanted to be great at something. I always knew I could be. I just didn't know what it was. I couldn't find my lane. Remember, I grew up in Texas. My brother was a fantastic football player, man, and I looked up to him. He was my older brother. He's like 8 years older than me. I've always felt like I had to follow in his footsteps and his shoes, and so I felt like football was what I was supposed to do. But anytime I was at practice, I'm like, man, I just don't like this. Like, this is not my thing, And so I was wrestling too, but I didn't fall in love with it. But what ended up changed for me was my junior year. Like a light switched in my head, man. It was the craziest thing. My dad always loves to tell this story, but I remember I was wrestling. I was wrestling at the time, like 220, and there was this guy I was going to wrestle against, but he went to state. He was a fantastic wrestler. I had no chance against him, right? Apparently, and they knew that I wasn't that good. And the guy that wrestled above me was a lot better than me, and so they ended up switched. They moved him to wrestle my teammate who was better than me, right? And they put in like a JV guy to wrestle with me, right? And I felt like I was mad disrespectful. I was like, dang. And sure enough, the JV guy like destroyed me. And I felt so offended. I was so irritated, so angry about this whole situation. I remember telling my parents I said, man, I'm going to state this year. And it was the craziest thing my dad ever heard. My dad laughed at me. He was like, man, okay, whatever, right? Man, sure enough, like after that, man, I went like on a tear, bro. Oh, and I ended up made it to state that year.
Damn.
But it was like a light had switched to my head. The guy, and that we got to districts, the guy that moved up to 285 to super heavyweight, he obviously then had to wrestle me at districts because we had to go by the weight classes. And I beat him. And at that moment, I was like, yo, I can really be good at this. Like, and from that point on, I took wrestling seriously. I locked in. Went to state that year. My senior year, I was dominant team captain, was doing my thing. And so that was the feeling I got addicted to. And I was like, yo, I can really be great at anything I put my mind to. And so I kind of locked in a little late with wrestling. And it would have been difficult for me going to school. There's no wrestling schools in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was using the Hazelwood, which is a military benefit, to pay for my school. And I didn't want to put a financial burden on my family, me trying to pursue wrestling and go out of state and try to wrestle. Wrestling scholarships don't pay full rides like football does or basketball, So I decided against it. And so originally I was actually going to do MMA. MMA was I was originally going to do, but then I went into a boxing gym and I fell in love with it immediately. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And so from that moment, I've stuck with
That's
it.
That's dope, dog. I appreciate it.
I know. I'm sorry I made that story very long.
Hell no, bro. That's what I want to see. I don't want you to just be like,
bro,
we want
to know that. I'm glad. I like how you told us that story about Oscar De La Hoya, because Oscar De La Hoya being who he is, being a golden boy. When you're one of the biggest stars of your generation and one of the biggest stars on the planet, you're gonna get a lot of hate. And Oscar De La Hoya, he get a lot of hate, and people who hate on him act like they ain't got skeletons in their closet too, right? We just can't see them because y'all not as visual as Oscar
Right.
De La Hoya. But can we talk about Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, Golden Boy? Can you talk about that relationship and how instrumental they've been to your career?
Man, I can't thank them enough, man. Honestly, like I feel like Golden Boy gets like a lot of slack and a lot of hate, and I honestly don't fully really understand why. Like, everybody's got their own take, their own position or whatever. But I just know for me what they've done for my career, man. You heard me. I have 8 fights in 12 months, man.
Yeah.
Like they've kept me extremely active and blessed me with so many opportunities. Like I'm extremely thankful and they changed my life, you know. Um, and they're great people to work with. Like even before I signed with them, I was on a couple of their cards, like kind of filling out because that was always a thing. You kind of just hear through media and stuff like, don't mess with Golden Boy, this and that, and so I was okay. I took that, but I took it with a grain of salt. And I was like, we got to fill them out and stuff. But man, no, they've been great to me. I got no complaints. Everything's business at the end of the day, though. We're not gonna say that it's not. I had bad performance and I lose a fight. They easily can cut me. I'm not gonna be like, dang, I thought we were cool. I thought we were tight. It ain't like that. It's business at the end of the day. But like I said, they presented me with so many opportunities and really changing my life and life for my family and future kids and stuff. Like I'm extremely blessed and thankful for them. And Bernard, the same thing, has been very great. Always been a good voice in my ear. Always helped me out. It's crazy even seeing Bernard ringside. I hear him giving me instructions too. He's very into the fight. I remember
No,
the fight in Phoenix. He's like, oh, he's dropping. Hold the right hand. Drop the right hand. Is there? I hear him, and I actually see him in the corner of my eye. He's just like very amped up and into it. Like, so it's great having that sport with a legend like B Hop and Oscar. Like, to really see them and like I said, they're boxers. They're boxers first before they came promoters and businessmen. So
they're legendary boxers. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And they know what it is. And listen, we
Real,
got.
real quick, JJ, one more thing, JJ, one more
Oh,
thing.
go ahead, Trey. Go ahead. I'll mute
Because
myself.
like you gotta like JJ said. I mean, because I know he's gonna get to talking about your IQ and how smart you is. You actually got a career. Like you said, you don't have to box if you don't want to, right?
Matter of fact, we got a comment
So
about it.
go ahead,
We'll
JJ.
ask that. He said, with your background in nursing, do people in the gym ask you to check their symptoms?
that is
That's from Mike. Mike. Didn't mean to interrupt you,
So
Corey.
look, no, that's cool. But just knowing that you got that right, um, could that be detrimental? In boxing, knowing that you got this career to fall on, like, could that be detrimental to you? I mean, I just want to ask.
not at all. And it's funny. That's always like I think I actually have thought about that too, right? And a lot of people have asked me too. Is like doesn't that like kill your drive? Like you can easily go do this and do that. The moment I really realized like I don't care about none of that other stuff was when I was on Team USA. Obviously this is during COVID time too, mind you. So when I won the Olympic trials, I got on Team USA 2020, and pandemic hit like early that year, right? And mind you, I'm not making that much money on Team USA. That's what I have to do. I'm trying to go to the Olympics, and I was stuck in that position. I had obligations with them, right? I was not making that much money with them. I had friends and classmates that were making a killing during the pandemic. Like they're getting these travel contracts and making like 8 to 10K a week, and I'm like, what?
Hell
I
yeah.
didn't bat an eye. That's when I knew that didn't move me at all. I didn't care about none of that. Like this was my goal, this is my dream. Like the money's not gonna move me or push me to say, oh man, I'm gonna go chase this. And that'd been good money. I could make great money, had a great life, great career. Didn't for a second even think about it. It wasn't even a thought. So at that moment, that's when I knew. And now mind you, going into the pros, when I first started my career, it was very slow, and I've fell on a lot of finance, like bad financial times. Like I was like dead broke. I was running so low on my savings. I'm like, man, but I knew even then that I could not go back to nursing. Like there's no going back to that. Because I mean, realistically, I knew going back to that, if I went and got a job in nursing, I've been making really good money, I would have gotten comfortable. And I'd be like, you know?
Oh, that's smart,
And
bro.
so no matter how low it was getting for me financially, I said, I can't go back. There is no going back.
He ain't lying, JJ, because they was making a killing during COVID.
Oh
Bro.
no, I
Do
see
you
it.
hear me?
Yeah, one of my best friends was getting them traveling contracts, bro. And I know,
Bro.
yeah, I know what you mean. It was bananas. And salute to, I mean, I say salute to you. At the end of the day, you know, like I'm one of the guys who wants the best for the boxers, you know, for the individual fighter. When it comes down to it, I love boxing so much. You will never ever look at any of our episodes and see me talking shit to any boxer. So salute to you for, I don't want to say ignoring the temptation of going to corporate or medical, you know, nursing. Salute to you, but salute to you for having that as a backup, bro. Like that's big time. Like our boy Peter Puritan said, not detrimental. He's boxing because he loves it. You know, a lot of people will criticize you, Darius. They will say there's some guys who boxing because they have to. But this leads me to my next question. There's a lot of current events going on in boxing, and I want to get to them right now. But this is the last question that I'm going to ask before we go there. And Peter Puritan mentions it. Mature, intelligent young man. Look, one of my favorite things about a boxer is because there's talent everywhere. You can go into gyms all over America. But when you can use your brain in the ring, when you can use your intelligence, when you can recognize that I need to adjust instead of just going balls to the wall, especially with only 11 fights. I see that in you, Darius, that you're using your brain. You're athletic as hell. That's a given. Is that something I'm misreading, or is that something you pride yourself in, using your brain in the ring? How difficult is it, and are you doing it?
I trust me, I do. You know, I was talking about this today after I was sparring today, and I was talking to a lot of people about this in the gym. Like this is a critical thing for me, and honestly, what helps always makes me so much better is once you start under. So let me backtrack for a second, because a lot of times before, you know, a lot of times we just kind of blindly do stuff. You know, we kind of just do it without even thinking about it, man. You know, we just kind of just going with the flow, and I'm not gonna lie, what actually changed a lot for me was during some of those trying times, I decided, I said, well, I need to start like maybe training a couple people or whatever. And so I started training some people in boxing. And it wasn't until then when I actually started vocalizing and explaining, okay, no, you do this because of this. And I was like, oh dang, that's why I do that. And I never thought about it for the longest. And until I started actually like coaching, I was like, man, no, this is why you do it. This is why you do that. You gotta always have a why. You need to know the why of everything that you do. You have to, because then if you don't, then you're just instinctually doing stuff, you know. And for a lot of people, there's nothing wrong with that. They get by with that, you know what I'm saying? But for me, when I started actually knowing why certain things worked, is what really elevated my game, you know. And there's so many things I go deep onto that on the technical side of it, of like why there's a lot of things that I do, but then you start thinking of people who they follow these same patterns, right? Once you start understanding people's patterns, you really start being able to break down a fighter. Once they're in a certain position, they're very limited. They can only throw 3 punches from this position. A lot of times these thoughts happen so fast, you know, because they had become muscle memory. But you know, in this position, they can only throw these 3 punches. Okay, now once they can throw the right hook, right uppercut, right hook to the body, or they can throw the jab up top. So only 3 punches you can go. Now you're just watching for that one little movement to indicate, okay, that's what you're about to do. And then you can defend it. If you can know what's about to come at you, you can defend it every single time. There's no way you can't, you know. And so I say to say, long story short, IQ is so important, and I'm always trying to gradually increase it every day. So anytime when I'm in sparring, I always think to myself when I'm in there, I'm always trying to predict what they're going to do before they do it. Trying to read ahead of their moves before they do it. And sometimes I may be wrong, you know. But the more that I start to get right more and more often, though, you know. And I'm always saying if I can be able to read somebody, I can be able to stop everything they do, and I can counter it, I can attack it, I can beat it. So I pride myself on that, always in the gym training. And last thing I want to say on this topic is my brother sent me a video today on Instagram, and it was Deion Sanders was talking. That dude cold, man. That dude's got a mouthpiece. He knows how to really talk. But he was talking about practice with purpose, and this thing resonated with me heavy, man. Because again, I see a lot of people in their flaws in the gym is they're just practicing and going through the motions. They've been doing it since they're 5 years old, and they're just going through the motions. They're shadow boxing with no intensity. They're just kind of just whatever. But no, you have to practice with a purpose. Deion said, every time I practice, I was practicing to be the greatest ever. And it resonated with me hard as this is what I go into practice for. I'm going in there to train and really lock in and keep growing because, again, it's so easy to go on autopilot, but we got to go in there with intensity and really keep growing and learning. You know, you're never too much of an expert to keep learning or something. So always room to grow.
Oh, bro, you spitting fire,
bro. And I know we got some more questions about current events real quick, but can we take a quick little break real quick and shout out to our sponsor real quick?
Hey, quick sponsor, come back and we'll talk a lot. We'll talk about Austrian. We'll talk about Canelo. We'll talk about everything. All right, to give us a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Step into the ring of success with Dynamite CRM, the heavyweight champion of CRM software and website development. Jab through clutter data and deliver knockout blows to your competition. With Dynamite CRM in your corner, victory is guaranteed.
All of our homies at Dynamite CRM, listen, they can go from zero to Star Wars real quick. If you just need a website for your business, check out Dynamite CRM. If you need to manage all your clients, check out Dynamite CRM. We appreciate y'all. Y'all check them out, man. They're really good people, and they will hook you up. All right.
We tell y'all they one of the best of the best. Everybody from the 214 where we at to across the pond, make sure y'all go check out their website. We back with Darius Fulghum. What's popping?
All right. Hey, Darius, we learned a lot about you. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. I was a fan of yours before, but, dog, just something about your mindset, bro, and just keep it up. Keep it up because that's what's going to separate you from all the talent, you know, all the God-given ability that everybody has to be blessed with. It's that mindset, dog, and I love everything you're saying. But correct, there's just something to talk about, bro. Like,
wait, real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
One more thing I want to say too is you said something that just made me think about something too. There's a guy. This was the last thing I want to say. I want to talk about Kurt because I don't like talking about myself. There's so much about boxing I want to talk about y'all. But the last thing I want to say is there was a guy. I was in the gym with me and he was training with me and I remember he said to my coach, man, he was like, man, I didn't know. He said, I really didn't know Darius worked this hard until he started training with me. He said, I didn't really know he really worked like this, right? And now, mind you, the guy that said this, bro, was extremely talented, with just so much athletic ability, like just natural born, given. And I had to have a conversation. I said, Trey, you got to understand something, bro. Like, I really didn't have any ability at all. Like, when I started this, you would have seen me when I started. Like, I really made a lot of myself, but I had no choice. Like, when you talk about athletic ability, you ask anybody that I grew up with that knew me when I was a kid, I did not have an athletic bone in my body. I didn't turn into an athlete until I was like 18 years old. And so to go back to the IQ thing, and that was like, that's all I have. You know what I'm saying? And I told him that. I said, I don't have the like those gifts like that. You know, this is my gift. And so I got to make the most of it. This is what I got. This is what I think will separate me from a lot of other people. And so I got to just keep working this. Okay. My bad. That was the last thing I had to say.
If you can train your brain, bro, like that's the problem. You have somebody at 27 who's undefeated. Most of them are going to stop learning. Most of them are going to say, hey, I know what I'm doing. I've got 90% knockout rate. I know what I'm doing. And I love to hear that you're still completely open to learning, bro. And that's the difference in all of this. When you talk about the legends and when you talk about the non-legends, the pretenders, it's that, dog. Like we were talking about De La Hoya earlier. Look how De La Hoya
military background.
But bro, like every one of his fights was different. Sometimes he was boxing, sometimes he was like it's and the fact that you have that ability to adjust, bro, like keep cultivating that, man. That's huge.
That's true.
So,
Hey,
but
that's that
yeah, dog.
military background, JJ. That's that
Hell
military
yeah, that's what
background.
it is.
That's having good people around you, and it ain't just, saying because he had good people around him, because at the end of the day, you can still have good people around you when you can go the other way. We've seen it
Right.
time and time again,
Mhm.
right? But that's wonderful.
Go ahead. Hey, how about we open it up, Darius? What do you want to talk about? There's so much damn shit to talk about. Like,
Well,
what's
well,
your favorite topic when you jump on the social
I
medias?
know. I heard you mention the topic, and I really want to hear y'all's thoughts on it.
Yeah, I want to.
When you talk about the Osterin thing, I'm too curious to hear because I've been seeing so many different sides and so many takes on the whole Ryan Devin Haney situation. Please, I want y'all to elaborate
All right.
thoughts on it.
Let me go first. Let me go first, right? And we haven't even covered this that much on the show because both of us are tired of the damn show, the clown show, you know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real honest. But here's my stance on it, right? I will always go with what the test says. No matter if I like a fighter, no matter if I don't like a fighter, no matter if somebody's all hyped, whatever the hell. That's the only way I can stay consistent. I don't want to put my emotions in it. I don't want to say, well, maybe he didn't mean this. If he fails a test, I'm going to be extremely critical because, like I told you earlier, I care about the fighters. One of my favorite fighters as a kid growing up. I'm a little bit older than you. I got 12 years on you, but Gerald McClellan. And this didn't have anything to do with PEDs that we know of.
Right.
But the dude is he's mentally disabled now, bro. And so when I saw that, it triggered something in my 8-9-year-old brain. And now, when I see anybody, Alicia Baumgartner, we love her, but she failed the test. Ryan Garcia, obviously, we've got great relationships with Golden Boy. And I'm speaking on behalf of JJ right now, not the spit bucket. When somebody fails a test, I take it serious. I take it super serious. Now, you can argue, all right, it wasn't in his blood for that long. He didn't fail before. Until Ryan can prove to me that it was minimal, that he didn't do it intentionally, then I'm going to be hard on Ryan. In the same breath, though, I will say this. Devin Haney's boy, Victor Conti, the guy who's been banned from baseball, the guy who's been banned from every other sport, has no business in boxing. And this is just my opinion. He has no business in boxing, and this is why I believe so. Yes, I believe in second chances. He got banned. He served prison time, all that stuff. I believe in second chances, dog. If it wasn't for second chances, I wouldn't be where I'm right now. I wouldn't have my wife downstairs with my baby. I'm a huge believer in second chances, but not when it involves combat sports and punching the other dude in the head. There's a million other sports that Victor Conti can do his comeback tour on. And that's how I feel, bro. Like Victor Conti represents some of my favorite boxers. Terrence Crawford, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney. I love these guys. These guys are great for boxing. But he brings an unnecessary shadow of a doubt. I'm not saying Devin and Bud and those guys are cheating. I'm saying why associate yourself with a cheater? So I got two sides to the argument, and I see both sides. As it stands right now, I think Ryan should serve a suspension. I think the suspension should be bigger down the road. I think we need to talk about that. But I'm big against PEDs, and I will always trust the test, and that's what I'm always going to back. That's how
Yeah,
I
I'm with
feel.
him. I'm with him. Ryan Garcia, we was waiting on it to come back. It came back. You're guilty, right? It ain't no other way to look at that, right? He's guilty and he needs to be suspended, and they need to come down on him, and they need to do what they need to do. Like they say, we got a great relationship with Golden Boy, but just because we got a great relationship with them, that's not going to take our integrity away from covering the sport. We love them guys, but we got to let the truth come to the power, and the power come to the truth, right?
Yes,
And then I'll go ahead.
oh no, so you got to call a spade a spade. My bad, keep going.
Yeah, you got to call a spade, and then it's like he speak about Victor Conte, right? Like this is a guy who stated he could beat any test. You remember the clear? He said he could beat any test, right? Okay, Ryan Garcia got popped dirty, but Victor Conte, a guy who say he could beat any test, he got all these high-profile clients with him. It just looked crazy to me. So my thing, okay, Devin Haney, Ryan popped, but you're with a guy who said he could beat I'm talking. We talk about Victor Conte, Darius. He is the greatest of all time when it
Yeah,
comes to performance enhancing
I,
drugs. Your
I
thought?
know it. I know it. I watched. I don't know if y'all seen that documentary that was on
I've seen
Netflix.
it. Yeah.
Bro, that thing changed like a lot of how I view a lot of these PED stuff, man. Like a lot of time before I seen that, I used to think that all the time that any athlete that popped PEDs, they never did it intentionally. I thought it was something that was like contamination or something. Till I watched that and you see these athletes, these Olympians, really talking about, man, I wanted to be great so bad that
Mm-hmm.
they did whatever it took. And I was like, bro, how do you not have any integrity in that, bro? Like, how do you even win and feel good about winning when you know that you cheated? And a lot of people, they're like, even in the baseball era, they're like, well, everybody's doing it. Am I really cheating? It's like, I through this whole thing, I've heard so many arguments about PEDs, and it's kind of irritating me a little bit. I'm glad to hear y'all say y'all stance on it, right? Like, we gotta understand, boxing is a corrupt sport. It is, and there's a lot of politics in it, and there's so many conspiracy theories we can come up with, or they kind of could have done this, or there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot we don't know. I always say, I really honestly don't know, right? But one thing I do know is we have to be honest and be real on, like, man, okay, if Ryan really was taking P's, we can't say like that doesn't have an impact on the fight. The thing that's been driving me insane the most is I hear people saying, uh, well, Devin still would have been gotten hit with them left hooks. He still would have got knocked out. I said, bro, we can't act like I'm gonna just use the Cotto Margarito for example. Like,
Mm-hmm.
can't act like somebody punching harder doesn't change the outcome of a fight, like, or the outcome of how a fight can go. You know,
No, dog.
so it's very hard to really, because you really don't know. Like, Ryan may not have taken anything. Somebody could have just whatever. There's so many different ways on so many conspiracy theories you hear about people saying, well, Devin Haney was already like paying off his losses back in Mexico, and he could be doing something like that now. Like, there's so many rabbit holes you can go down, right? But my thing though is if I'm Devin Haney, because a lot of people are talking, but I've actually seen so much more support for Ryan Garcia than Devin Haney, and that's what kind of blew my mind, right?
That's what I don't understand,
I was
dog.
like,
And
dang, bro, like, people get Ryan a lot of support for this. Like, oh, Devin Haney, shut up, bro, just take your L. I'm like, sheesh, that's harsh. And I tell a lot of people, even people that I know that may take that stance, I was like, I want y'all to look back for a second. Imagine that was me. Imagine I was Devin Haney, and imagine the guy that I fought pop positive. Would y'all still have the same stance? We got to be real. Like, there's a lot of biasness. Y'all probably just don't like Devin or something. There's a lot of
no,
bias.
bro.
A lot of
No,
bias in it.
that's 100% what it is, dog. Like, I've been put in a position where family members are like, "Hey, yeah, but Ryan, this and that," and it's like, the listen. To your point earlier, where they were saying, "Well, Devin Haney, it didn't impact the fight that much." Oscar De La Hoya knocked out Fernando Vargas. He knocked his ass out. Fernando Vargas tested positive after that for PEDs. So should we not have disciplined Fernando Vargas since Oscar De La Hoya won, since it didn't
Right.
impact the
Right.
fight?
Right.
No, you still have to discipline him. And listen, I don't care if there's a contamination. I don't care. You're at this level on the highest stage you can get. Ryan Garcia did a hell of a job attracting new audience with all his antics before the fight, and
Right.
I'm with it. I'm however the hell you want to do it.
I would
Bring
agree.
new eyes to boxing, but we needed to be on our best behavior that weekend. And when you tested positive for PED, it's my responsibility and his responsibility to say no to PEDs. I don't give a shit about how much it was. I don't give a shit if his supplements was contaminated. He was cheating in a sport where the objective is to hurt the other guy. Marion Jones, the Olympian runner, she wasn't hurting nobody. Yes, she cheated. She ran faster. Nobody got physically injured from that. If you want to cheat, cheat, but man, keep it out of combat sports. And I will always feel like that.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. I'm in this sport, and it's crazy then hearing so many people come out and they say, oh well, he only had zero point 0.8 micrograms of or whatever it was, and try to say that wouldn't do enough to, man. Okay, you step in the ring and you deal with something like that. The one thing that I'll say about Devin Haney though, like, and this is just my take on it, if I was Devin Haney, I don't like the fact that they were trying to like overturn it and Devin Haney get the win. I was like,
Facts.
no, I don't
Yeah.
agree with that. If I was Devin Haney, like I have to get my get back, man. Like
Facts.
I have to, dog. Like there's no way, but it have to be under fair circumstances though. Like we have to make sure that there's protocols in place where it is a fair match, you know? Like there's so many, like even looking back on him, I mean, Ryan came like 3 pounds overweight, you know, and anytime I was taking P's, like, come on, dog. Like, yeah, Devin Haney,
look
this
at-
probably he ain't get a lot of support, but like I said, if I'm Devin Haney, I gotta get my get back, dog.
Yeah.
But again, who knows? Like I said, this conspiracy theories. I would say I really don't know. You know, Ryan may, you know, I think I've seen the reports saying that it was contamination or whatever, and that's very, very unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Who knows if he really took it intentionally or not? But it's tough though. You know, it happened.
I get it, and I'm with you 100% too, dog. Like, I respect all these dudes the same. I don't have favorites. Like, I enjoyed the fight, so I can be critical on Ryan Garcia and how I feel about it. In the same breath, I think it's insane that they're trying to overturn the decision like you do. Like, go get your get back, bro. And then I also think it's crazy that people. Well, I don't think it's crazy. My personal opinion, I picked Devin Haney to win that fight. Unanimous decision. I thought he was going to win easily. He changed my mind, and we've known Devin was vulnerable to the shot. We know he's been chinny. I don't know. I don't think that fight would have been that much different without the PEDs. But that's the thing. We don't know.
Don't
Let's
know.
run it back and everybody just shut the hell up. That's what I wish.
We don't know. Devin
Well, this
Haney
why I
proved
would.
everybody wrong.
Yeah, but my thing is this, right? We know Ryan Garcia got caught cheating, right? And we seen that beating Devin Haney took. Like, this is boxing, right? And when you take beatings like that, when you know you feel like you're indispensable, then you see this guy get popped. Like, is Devin Haney gonna be the same guy that come back? And then I also disagree when they say y'all say he shouldn't get this win, his loss overturned. If this guy popped dirty, that loss shouldn't count. This would turn into a no cut. So hold up. So you want to? Hold up 1 second. Go ahead.
No, that's not agree with. What I was saying was that he was trying to overturn it where he gets the win.
Yeah.
Now that he
Yeah.
they were trying to say he was trying to overturn it where he is now crowned the winner of that fight. And I'm like,
Okay. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, no, it don't. It shouldn't work. Like
No
that.
contest.
No
Whatever.
contest for sure. No
It
contest.
wasn't even a title fight. Like, let's keep it moving. Let's move forward. I wish we would just see the rematch and stop with all the shit. But, bro, like going back to what you said about the weight, how many of us didn't know if the fight was going to happen? Even leading up to the week of, I was like, I will still be surprised to see Ryan in. So they were like, fuck it. 3 pounds over. Let's make this fight happen. Like, let's make it happen. And it just, for me, dog, I respect the sport so much that it made me sick to my stomach to see Ryan Garcia coming in overweight, then to be bragging about it. Like, to me, coming in overweight is, besides PEDs, the most disrespectful thing you can do, especially at that level. So when the PED, like, I shut up for a week. I was like, shit, Ryan did his thing. All right, cool. But then when the PEDs came out, I'm just like, dog, you can only take so much. So right now, as it stands, yeah, Ryan cheated, all that, but I'm just so disgusted with it all. I just think the only way to fix this is a rematch with fair conditions, and let's just put it to rest already. Who you got coming out as a winner if it's a fair rematch?
I honestly don't even know because I was surprised. Like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. Like, that was one of the best fights that I've watched live, for real. Like, it was so entertaining because there was a lot of like, that's what makes a fight really great when the unexpected happens. Kind of like a lot of people were counting Ryan out, and Ryan came out, did his thing, first round, boom, popped him, rocked him. I was like, oh shoot, crowd was going crazy, you know. And to see that, then the back and forth, Ryan was losing a lot of rounds, and then Ryan coming back, boom, hurting him again. Like, that fight was great. Like, it would sell so great for a rematch too. Like,
the rematch.
It makes so much sense that the rivalry there already, and with the whole story that's been built up with it. Like, there's no reason why it should happen. And even for Ryan's side, And for Devin, like, bro, Devin, get your get back, bro. That's the thing why I like the Cotto Margarito is like he got his get back.
And
nah, but
greatest
he didn't get it right back though. He didn't get his get back right back though. Like this type of loss Devin Haney took. No, Devin Haney need to take some more fights in between. Then he can get that back. That's just my opinion. But go ahead.
No, man, and you could be right. I don't know how Devin is really thinking though, but I can imagine not even just for Ryan fighting Devin, but a lot of people that are going to fight Devin next really feel like Devin's
Let me ask
exposed.
you a question. You said ask your people how you would feel if somebody cheated on you. So if you was Devin Haney and you know this guy cheated on you, would you fight him again, Darius?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It have to be
Yeah.
under like protocols to make sure that everything is fair, which I feel like they've already were supposed to be doing. Like they were tested every week, But thing is, like, dang that, like, just from I'm not sure how the process really works when they do these drug tests, but I really do feel like they should be able to get these results almost immediately. Like
Yeah.
it's not like it's not like they're pulling urine, they're testing it for bacteria and they're waiting for the culture to grow. No, like I feel like these results can come back just like that. And so it doesn't make any sense to me, or I don't really understand. Then again, I will always emphasize I'm very ignorant on their process on why these results aren't back fast enough. Like they got tested on the 19th. Fight was on the 20th. He got tested on the 19th, which is positive, and on the 20th, which is positive. It's like, how are these results not in time? So to answer your question, it have to be under fair conditions to make sure that he's clean. Would be the only way, because he popped. I wouldn't imagine that you pop again.
You want to know the most disturbing thing that you just said as a boxing fan? You're 11-0. You're well in it. You got a main event coming up, and you said, and this ain't a knock on you. This is a knock on the industry. I'm very ignorant on the PED process. Like it's crazy to me that our sport. I say our sport because I love it, and what I'm saying. I ain't never had a pro fight, nothing like that. But it's crazy to me that the individual fighters are absolutely clueless to it, dog. And I think that's a red flag. That's another red flag. Like we don't even know what's what. We're sitting here trying to make draw conclusions and try to responsibly report what's going on. It's impossible, dog, because we don't know. If y'all are the fighters and y'all don't know, shit. What does that say about our sport, dog? It needs some cleaning up so bad, dog.
That's what makes it hard. It's not like any other, like the NFL, the NBA, that has ran by like one organization that has structure, and they have a players union to make sure people are looking after and taken care of. Like again, it's like I said, it's the Wild Wild West. That's the sport that we're part of, and I don't see that really changing.
So with your brother being a football player, you like all sports, right?
Mhm.
Well, we from Dallas, Texas, right? Our Dallas Mavericks are in the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics. Who you got in that series, and how many games do you think you go?
Well, just because I'm talking to you, I'm going for the Mavericks, and
Yeah, good answer. I tell him the same shit every morning.
No, seriously. No, seriously. Who you got?
No, I really do got the Mavericks, though. I think the Mavericks are going to win.
That's cool,
So,
man.
and real quick, I know we got to get off of here, Jay. We want to ask him about a couple
I
of
had one
fights.
more topic that I wanted to bring up, if you cool with it, Darius.
Yeah, let's do it.
And this is about the 168 division. And this, me and Corey have had plenty of arguments about this. I want to know what you think about Canelo's movements. I've been very critical on him. I think Canelo's great. I think Canelo beats David Benavidez. But I also, just like I thought Floyd Mayweather would beat anybody from 2010 to 2015, but he didn't take those fights. I think Canelo, this is my personal opinion, I think Canelo beats the Benavidez and the guys that he's talking about, but I don't know what the hell his problem is. As a super middleweight prospect, soon to be contender, what are your thoughts on how Canelo's been moving, picking and choosing, saying things like, I do what I want, that is so different than what the fans want? What are your thoughts on it?
It blew my mind last fight when he basically said, I do what I want, Viva la Mexico, and then the crowd erupted. They went crazy. I was like, God dang. I was like, boy, he really has been a chokehold where he can really do whatever he wants. But realistically, and Canelo knows this is part of the business, part of the life that we chose. Like, people don't criticize Canelo no matter what he does. But one thing that is clear and evident is when he made this statement to me that he is not want to fight Benavidez at all. is he said that he'll do it for like $200 million. I'm like, okay, yeah. Now you're outpricing yourself, and I mean, somebody probably could. Turkey probably could pay that
Hurt to
money
do
if he
it.
wanted it, right? But at that point, when you made a comment like that, that was kind of unrealistic. I can't even remember the numbers that Floyd and McGregor did, and how much they got. But when you made a claim like that, it kind of told me enough. Like, are you requesting $200 million to fight everybody else at 168? No. Why has it only been Benavidez? So
I'm
that
tired of it.
then told me enough that he doesn't want that fight. But realistically, Benavidez all the props, man. Benavidez deserves that fight. He's done what he's done what he's supposed to do.
That's his
I
belt,
mean,
dog.
what's hard about Benavidez is he probably could have had that fight, but he missed weight one time and he they had the cocaine issue. Yeah, he lost his belt. He had a belt, so he was in a position
Exactly.
to make fights like
And
that.
Darius, see,
But don't call
now this
yourself
what
the
we
best 168 pounder in the world when you ain't
hold,
beat the
hold
guy
up,
in that.
hold up, Dave. Now listen, Darius. This one we gonna disagree again, right?
This is why Mexicans
Because
hate me and Mexicans love him.
the economy done went up way since Floyd done made that money against McGregor and
Yeah.
Manny Pacquiao. Everybody in the world saying Canelo versus Benavidez is the biggest fight of the world. He said 100. So you telling me 150 million ain't realistic for Canelo and Benavidez if it's the biggest fight in the world?
Well, I say it's realistic, but like I said, he's not asking for that for anybody else. I don't think anywhere even close to that. Like, that's a huge. How much you think he got for the Munguia fight? I don't think he got close to that. Now,
No.
obviously, what I will agree on is that Munguia fight versus Benavidez fight is not the same. Like, obviously, Benavidez fight is much more a higher value fight. But I don't know. Like I said, him just making that statement makes it clear that he doesn't want it, and I don't think he'll ever take it.
And to me,
And
this
that,
is another thing. Benavidez not being disciplined. I think, man, it's a strong possibility he gonna lose to that guy at 175. It's a strong possibility. Why
Gojik's a
he ain't
good.
staying disciplined at
I'm really
168?
interested. Yeah, I'm really interested to see that fight too. Is I've sparred with Gojik before. Gojik, talented guy. He was, he's probably going to beat Beterbiev if he didn't get knocked out. Um, nobody should really be sleeping on this guy. Dude's a great fighter, and so to see how Benavidez can deal with this guy, like the one thing with Benavidez in all his fights, one thing about him for sure, he comes in like you say he's a discipline, but man, I ain't gonna lie, he comes in shape though. Like a lot of the fights that he wins is because how great in shape he is. Like and he does a really good job of sapping a lot of the energy of everybody he fights. Caleb Plant did a
And
great
Caleb
job with that. Caleb Plant was winning a lot of the beginning rounds, but then Benavidez put his weight on him, started slinging him around on the inside, throwing these looping hooks. Same thing with Andrade. Andrade gassed early, you know. Benavidez has a good way of putting his pressure on and his weight on somebody to make them kind of fold. But I'm not sure if he'll be able to do that, at 175 against a guy who has good movement, good range, and can box. So, but Gojik hasn't been at that level in a while though, since Beterbiev. He's
That's true.
taken some tune-up fights, to get him back. So, are we going to see the best Gojik? Who knows? But it'd be a good test for Benavidez. And I don't know if I would assume he's going to stay at 175. I don't see him going up to 175 and back down to 168.
I bet he does if he loses, and then Canelo's price tag goes down and says, "No, I'll fight him. I'll fight him."
Hey, you know what? You're right. Certain situations have to line up, but it's very hard. I can imagine a guy that struggled with the weight before to go up and
That's
get
true.
to 175 to then going back down to 168. It's hard for me to see, but I say it wouldn't happen. Who really knows, you got to play your cards and how they're dealt.
100%. And this is my last question, Darius. We just named a bunch of 160. You've sparred with a bunch of them. When you close your eyes at night and you visualize that moment when you become a world champ, who do you see on the other side of the ring? Who do you want? Like, who do you think that this could happen? Do you have a preference, or do you have something that you've been visualizing?
No, I don't, because the only person I can
Big
think
name.
about is Canelo, because Canelo has all the belts. But I'm not gonna be that guy cautious on the Canelo name. Like realistically, being real, by the time I get into that position, Canelo could be retired. He's done a lot in his career. At any point in time, be like, I'm done, or he could give up the belt. So I'm not gonna be the guy saying I want the Canelo fight. Like being real, like Berlanga, is holding on to that Canelo fight. He's like, I feel like he's in close enough position where he's like, which I get it though. Like that's the big money fight to happen. That's a fight that probably set his whole, the rest of his life up. And he don't want to risk it taking a fight with a Morrell or taking a fight with a Pacheco or something. So I get it for sure, but same time though.
I had Berlanga circled right here because I just wanted you to say his name at some point tonight. So thank you. I think you and Berlanga would be an excellent fight, and I think I have so much to say on that. But that was
I think it'd be a great fight too, especially now we're both on the DAZN network. I feel like fights like that are easier to be made. But like I said, fights like that are not gonna happen. As of right now, as much as I want it. Much as I want anything, my dad wants it more than anything. I swear, my dad literally all he talks about. He said, "Man, I just want you, Berlanga, fighting in the Barclays." He's envisioned that, and so, I'm hoping to come true too. Shoot, and I'm with
Man,
that.
shout out to your dad. Shout out to what's your father's name?
Timothy.
Shout,
Tim.
shout out to Tim, man. Shout out to Mr. Timothy, man. To see his son play pro football, to see his other son be in win a belt and one and right there away from becoming a regular world champion, to see his daughter doing what she doing, bro, like that's an out of body experience for Tim. Do you understand like how he feel in the inside, bro? Like I couldn't imagine it because I got two boys, right? So, and I could just imagine how I feel, if they did something that I really love, because your dad has to be a huge boxing fan.
He is a big boxing fan, man. He's talking about watching boxing season. He's a big sports fan, period, though. Yeah, big sports fan, period.
That's tight, man. Well, dog, Darius, we appreciate you, bro. It's been a hell of a 1 hour and 17 minutes, bro. And we appreciate you sharing your stories, your experience, your insight. And it's been a hell of a run. Good luck to you, June 27th, dog.
And we look forward to having you back soon, Darius.
No, we got to make it happen because I just want to thank y'all again because man, I'm being very blunt and very honest. If I wasn't telling the truth, I just wouldn't say anything at all. Man, this has actually been the best podcast I've been on. I really enjoyed my time on here.
Whoa.
Oh,
we appreciate it.
Now I'm being for real. I really actually enjoyed this because what's also important to me, and I think other people can really understand this when people do interviews, is that y'all actually know what y'all talking about. Like sometimes I hate doing interviews and asking the same did this question. When you ask me the question about the George Lopez thing, it's like, bro, you actually really did your homework and you actually really looked and you did your research. You looked at other interviews. You read articles or whatever. Most people do podcasts and they don't do their homework. And so it's like, what are we talking about? We're talking about the same thing over and over again. This was actually like really dope. I enjoyed this for real.
Hey man, that's a humbling feeling to to hear you say that. We greatly appreciate it, and we look forward to having you on here soon. Not just when you have a fight coming up, but we see that you like to talk to sport. Like you say, your IQ is off the chain. These fighters, and we'll definitely like to bring you on to break down some individual matchups of fights that's happening, and who you think will be the victor, and we'll pick our victor as well.
Anytime, man. Let's make it happen.
Appreciate it, brother. Good luck, June 27th. Congrats on all the success and keep it fucking going, dog. We're proud of you, dog.
Baby. Let's do it.
I'll let you, dog.
All right, brother. All right, y'all. Peace.
Later.
Peace. Man, JJ, shout out to Darius, man.
No, I like that guy, bro. I like that guy. He's got the goods.
Class act. JJ, class act. That's what set fighters who see, how I say And I tell you this because I've been in the game longer than you, right? I tell you how I could see a fighter, right? And they could act like this, they this certain way. Then when they start getting this attention, they turn another way. That guy not like that. That guy right there is humble. That guy right there has a solid ground that he stands on, bro. And that guy right there, like when I asked him about pressure, you know, to tell you the truth, it really ain't no pressure for him. He's
Yeah.
seen his brother at the highest of heights. He's seen his brother make it to that level. So how can his brother tell him that? He's seen his daddy make it to the highest of heights of the level he on, right? So just everything that's circulating around him got him built for this.
Yeah, bro. Like we said, dog, a division can change like this. We saw what just happened at 147. 168 is about to do the same thing once Canelo starts letting go of these belts. And we've seen
The
Darius grow.
future,
We've seen Darius
yep.
grow, and it sounds like he's gonna keep on growing. So appreciate him joining us, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. You got anything you want to close out with? Anything on the
Salute,
Mavericks?
shout
Game
out to
on Thursday. What are you
man.
feeling?
Uh, we'll talk about it Wednesday night, something like that. But I got a lot of stuff I need to break down. I'm gonna be talking about Luca and my guy Jason Tatum because you know, Jason, I'm totally being unbiased when it comes to this series, right? Because I look at these two teams, right, and I look at these two teams as the best two teams. And when these teams are matching up, you can look out throughout the entire playoffs. They have not faced a team that is as good as each other, bro. When it comes to the front court, and the wings, I think Boston has the advantage, right? By a slight edge, because as long as the Mavericks got Kyrie and Luca, they could handle the little ball headed dude. His name went past my head right now. They could handle the Drew guy. They could handle Tatum. They could handle Jalen Brown. But when you go to the big man, you know, when you look at Lively, when you look at Gafford, when you look at PJ Washington, like the Maverick has a huge advantage. And I know Porzingis is coming back from them, and that'll be great because if Porzingis is 100% healthy, if you look at his stats and just by the minutes he play, he gets the most out of himself off of that whole team. So Porzingis will be great because Porzingis will be able to bring the big man out, right? And they won't be able to protect the paint, and that'll give Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, Drew, you know, the ball headed guy a lot to attack. But the Mavericks have been so solid on defense, like with even Luca, Kyrie playing defense, bro. Like when you got a team that comes together like that, it's scary. But when we talk about pressure, though, right? Because like I said, I think this is going 7, right? And like I say, I got to see the first 2 games. I can't make a bold prediction on who I think gonna win the series. I got to see the first 2 games and see how it play out. But I can't tell you this: I think it's going 7, right? But when we talk about pressure, you know, the Mavericks wasn't supposed to be here. And I'm not just saying this because I'm Dallas, because I'm being totally unbiased to this. Everybody know I want the Mavericks to win, obviously, right? Everybody know I want the Mavericks to win, obviously, right? But I'm being totally unbiased when I tell everybody from the 214 to across the pond, Boston has all the pressure on them to win this championship. And when you got pressure on you like that, you know, it's hard. But I think Jason Tatum, I think Jalen Brown, like he said, they've been here before. It's up to them two to captivate this moment that they in, and we're gonna see. I think we got a great series going forward. Dallas versus Boston. Let's go.
Keep it going. Hold up.
Shout out to everybody. Y'all heard that like real talk. We appreciate y'all who on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Who please subscribe. Please go give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter. Do all that stuff. Share, tell your friends. And y'all know what I'm so happy about? That fucking Jake Paul and Mike Tyson shit got canceled, right? That fight shit even need to go on. And then when you talk about people who saying they love, you know, like how can anybody want to see Mike Tyson get in the ring? if you care about the sport of boxing?
Let me
How
interrupt
can
there.
anybody want to see this dude get in the ring if you care about the sport of boxing, man? Like, I know Mike Tyson, everybody, you know, do you remember how we used to talk? We were, I know y'all remember the time when Mike Tyson was great, right? I'm talking to everybody who loved Mike Tyson, but that's not the same guy, and there's no reason that Mike Tyson be putting himself in this position and then all these rules they got going on. So I think that was something from the man above to make this fight not happen, and I don't think it should happen. And if you care about Mike Tyson, y'all should feel the same way I do.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and say this real quick. Breaking news: Cody Crowley is out of the boots in this fight.
Fuck! Who said that, Jay?
Mike Coppinger just tweeted it. Cody
Fuck!
Crowley, because of his eye, withdraws from IBF welterweight title fight. Ain't that some shit?
Fuck!
You heard it here first. That sucks.
So
Let me hold on. Let me read the report real quick. Let's see what Coppinger had to say. Cody Crowley was forced to withdraw from his IBF welterweight title fight after he failed his pre-fight eye exam. So they're going to put in a new opponent. The expectation is he'll have a new opponent. Unfortunate. Listen, we've lost Better Biev and Bevo. We've lost, what's the other one? Oh, Virgil Ortiz and hold on. A couple things I want to chime in on. I think the big men are going to play a big role in the NBA Finals. I think our bigs have an advantage, and I think that's going to play a big role outside of obviously Luke and Kyrie. But Mike Tyson and the other thing you brought up, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. I'm with you, dog. For the longest, I don't think you guys will ever meet a bigger Mike Tyson fan than this one right here. And like I said last time, it's so hard to separate the legend from the human, the man. But I watched Sergey Kovalev fight on the whatever big ass card. I think the Fury card. He's 41, bro. And he looked good. He was in shape and all that. And Father Time just took over. And that's 41. That's not 58. And all it takes is one shot, not just to hurt him, but to hurt him. Like if Jake Paul, obviously he ain't got the skills that Mike has or all that stuff.
but he been training for a long time, Jay.
If Jake Paul lands an overhand right to Mike Tyson's temple, the softest part of our skull, the last thing to go is the abilities, or the first thing to go is your ability to absorb a punch as you get older. We've seen Mike Tyson get knocked out by Buster Douglas and Lennox Lewis, where it was just like a barrage of punches. We've never seen that Manny Pacquiao Marquez moment where Pacquiao went to sleep or Paul Williams went to sleep. And bro, I don't want to see Mike Tyson like that. And nobody should want to see Mike Tyson. The argument is, oh, look at how many people are going to be watching boxing. And Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor and Kid Austin and H2O. But the main event, dog, like we could see one of our heroes get permanently injured, and it ain't worth it to me. I don't give a fuck if everybody subscribes to our YouTube channel. It ain't worth it to me. So I'm with you. It took a while for me to accept it, but Mike Tyson got no business fighting a 20-something-year-old who's been working out and fighting other fighters.
Hey, I'm gonna drop the mic on that.
Hey, and real quick before we leave, I wanted to hear what you had to say about Virgil Ortiz, Tim Tszyu. That cancellation. I know that was a potential fight.
I think it's great I think it's great that they stopped that for Tim Tszyu. There's no way this guy look like he having his menstrual from his head for 12 rounds, JJ. Right, and then it's just pouring down profusely. Yeah. He on, steady taking punches. Like he ain't ready to get in there like this quick. You keep a guy out the ring like that for 8, 9, 10 months at the maximum. You don't put him back in there like that. And then if you're going to put him back in there, you bring a guy who had that type of blood rush from the top of his skull. You put that type of guy in there against somebody who not like
Virgil.
that, who pissing excellence. Like, not like that. So I'm happy that played out the way it played out. Like, I'm not mad. Do it suck for Virgil, but it sucked for us when, Virgil had to drop out of fights too because of his situation. So I don't want to see his side pointing fingers and saying, oh, Tim Tszyu was a pussy, because that's not the case. We got to look out for the fighters first.
Facts, bro. I agree with that. I was the selfish fighter fan in me wanted to see it so bad, but you're right. They need to let that shit heal up. So, because I hate a fight with excuses, with pre-built excuses, and that cut is gonna open back up. I promise you. So let's let that son of a bitch heal up, and that needs to be a main event. That Virgil Ortiz versus Tim Tszyu is a main event. It don't need to be an undercard.
Well, I ain't gonna lie to you, JJ. Boy, I loved it as a co-main event. Leading up to Crawford versus Matt. I ain't lying to you, JJ. Now that's what sucks, right? Like, now me being a boxing fan, it sucks. But me being a human being thinking about what Tim Tszyu went through, I totally understand, and it shouldn't happen. But me being a boxing fan, like selfish, the little selfish part of me, like that card right there was the truth. But that's neither here nor there. Glad it's not happening. We know we still got Crawford versus Majumov coming up. We got so boxing has been good to us this year, and I don't got no complaints.
I love it, bro. Well, all right, dog. Salute. We appreciate Darius DFG Fulghum joining us on episode 64. Y'all check out his fight on the 27th. It'll be on DAZN on a Thursday night. We know y'all ain't doing shit on a Thursday night, so y'all check him out. Y'all tune in. But hey, signing out. We appreciate it.
Salute.
This is JJ Solomon.
This Corey Bradshaw, Mr. IOTBA. Mr. These boys can't touch me on my worst day. And this is the Spit Bucket Podcast.